Okay, hi guys. So today I'm going to be doing my presentation on project-based learning. So the first chapter we're going to go over is chapter 3, which is imagining the possibilities. So in this chapter, we're just going to talk about establishing framework for projects and the big idea and a little bit of other things along the line. So establishing framework for projects is just really, analyzing them, examining and explaining. So the 3 steps of, what you want to do before a project. Evaluate, judge, select, or decide, what you want to do on that project. And then, of course, create that specific project. So, reiterating this into our children, to our children and making them, not forcing them, but helping them understand that these steps are really the proper ones to take before even starting a project. So moving on is the big idea. That's kind of just like, asking yourself, what are the most important things of our curriculum? If there is a specific thing that we want our students to grab, what is it? What is important about this? Who cares about it? How is this gonna affect or shift their daily lives? Just things like that. What is within our concepts of, science? What is the big idea within, erosion? What is the big idea within rhetoric? What is it that you want your children to get from this, and how do you want it to affect them? And then chapter 3 continued. We're just talking about the essential learning functions within the chapter and within project creating. So the first one obviously being research. You want your children to research their projects and kind of go into a deeper learning with experts, examining essays, articles, listening to audiobooks, things like that, making ideas visible, expressing ideas creatively. So this is bringing ideas to the open, allowing us to talk about things that they have observed, things that they've heard, really just sharing what they know. And that kind of leads into the third one, which is collaboration. Projects invite collaboration, so it is important for us to give them the facilities to share their knowledge. Things like Skype, FaceTime, Google Classroom, even classroom wikis are great, so that, if I want one student to share their knowledge about one topic with another student, I can easily facilitate that transaction between them two with a form, something like that, like Skype or something. Number 4 being project management, helping students bring coherence to their projects with tools that support good project management. So really, like planners, having them, be more organized with their stuff, really. Knowing what folder they put things in, knowing what category certain things fall into, just really knowing where their stuff is and staying on top of their stuff, rather than putting all of your homework into one file rather than separating it by class, if that makes sense. Leading us into the 5th one, which is reflection and iteration. So this one encourages reflection. It is important to always review. We encourage reflections and cycles of improvement. Iterative work becomes excellent work with each revision. It is important for us to have our children continue to want to know about a project upon finishing it. So say you have your child finish a project, you might want to have them, after they present it or after they turn it in, write a reflection on what they learned from doing that project. Or give just a little short summary to the class about their project and how it might have affected them in a positive or negative way, what they learned from it, what they took from it, how they're going to use it, and stuff like that. Which leads us to our sixth one of supported study or enrichment using open educational resources. So this is us helping our students tap into shared curriculum such as textbooks, courses, and other personal learning options, so that we can continue to help our students expand their minds in a positive way. So moving into chapter 4, pitfalls, just making sure activities are right for the students. Pitfalls are things that kind of I like to think of them as roadblocks. There are many that you can face, whether it be an activity that is long on the activity part and short on learning outcomes. That was just one example given in the book. That would definitely not be worth the students' time because they would actually not take anything from it, rather than them gaining, if that makes sense. Just things that really do not affect the students in a positive manner, that are too... It's always important to incorporate, activities and wanting the students, things that make the students want to be involved. But when that starts to take from their actual learning, that's what makes the difference. So from then we start talking about the qualities of different projects, the best kinds of projects. The best projects follow different learning points. They are generative. They center on driving questions, and are otherwise structured for inquiry. That's one example. They reach beyond the general school topic to give other aspects of learning. So from there, we're going to move on to Chapter 4, Part 2, which is mapping out our project. This is just a good way of being responsible with our stuff. When I think of mapping it out, I think of creating an outline. You can create a sketch as it's suggested in the book. We can do things like write out bullet points, share your outlines with others, make sure that you know what you're talking about, and go back and revise. It is important that we teach our students to revise their work, and share it with others to see that it makes sense to others and not just them, and to make sure that they know that others will actually get something from it. So from there, we move on to Chapter 5, which is making the assessment meaningful. So we want to talk about authentic assessments within PBL. So those three are very important of objectives, which is what is the student going to learn from this project. Evidence, so what do they need to demonstrate to show that they learned? Usually we ask students for, like I said, a reflection so that you know that they actually learned. A project like this one that I'm doing now, where you have them talk about what they've learned or what they've gathered from the information. And then the third being activities, so what approaches do they take to go from not knowing to knowing? So in what way, what helped you learn what you learned, if that makes sense? What helped you gather your knowledge, really? So that is really important. In PBL, and for us to teach our students. And then moving on, we customize our rubrics, school-wide rubrics, so that our students know what we expect from them with the 5 core values of inquiry, research, collaboration, presentation, and reflection. As I've mentioned before, it is really important for students to collaborate with other students, for them to present to us what they know, and then for them to reflect on what they've learned, because then it just helps them, of course, stay knowledgeable. So with that, this is my source, and sorry, I clicked on the other slide a little bit too early, but this is my presentation. Thank you so much.